Imagine boarding a flight, excited for a new adventure, only to witness a shocking moment that leaves the entire cabin in stunned silence. A young girl, no older than 10, nervously steps onto the plane with her father, clutching a small bag. But before she even reaches her seat, a flight attendant approaches her with a cold glare. "You're holding up the line," the attendant snaps, her words dripping with impatience. The girl's face flushes red as she mutters an apology. Little does the flight attendant know, this isn't just any passenger. The girl's father, quietly observing the interaction, happens to own the very airline she works for. What happens next will not only change the flight attendant's perspective, but also leave every passenger on that plane speechless. Stay tuned as we unravel this incredible story of humility, justice, and unexpected twists. As the girl and her father made their way to their seats, the flight attendant's icy demeanor didn't go unnoticed by other passengers. A few exchanged uneasy glances, but no one said a word. The young girl, still visibly embarrassed, looked up at her father for reassurance. He smiled softly, his calm presence a sharp contrast to the tension in the air. What the attendant didn't realize was that this man wasn't just any businessman. He was the CEO and owner of the airline, a fact he chose to keep quiet for now. Settling into their seats in first class, the father observed the attendant as she continued her duties, her tone sharp and her patience thin with others as well. Meanwhile, whispers began circulating among the passengers. Who was this man? And why did he seem so composed after such a rude encounter? The answer would soon change everything. As the plane taxied down the runway, the tension lingered in the air. The father leaned back in his seat, watching the flight attendant as she interacted with other passengers. Her attitude remained consistent, quick, dismissive, and lacking the warmth expected of someone in her role. A man in coach asked for assistance with his overhead bag, only to be met with a curt, "Figure it out yourself, sir. We're about to take off." The murmurs among the passengers grew louder, but the attendant seemed unaware of the frustration bubbling around her. Meanwhile, the young girl quietly pulled out a book, trying to shake off the earlier humiliation. Her father gave her a reassuring nod, but remained deep in thought. In the cabin, a seasoned flight attendant approached the rude one, whispering something but was brushed off. Little did she know, the CEO's calm silence wasn't a sign of inaction, it was the calm before the storm. As the flight progressed, the flight attendant's behavior only grew worse. She snapped at another passenger for asking for water, rolled her eyes when a mother requested an extra blanket for her child, and loudly muttered complaints under her breath. The cabin was tense, with passengers exchanging uneasy glances, but no one dared to confront her. All the while, the father remained calm, his expression unreadable, but his watchful eyes missed nothing. The turning point came when the young girl hesitantly raised her hand to get the attendant's attention. She wanted to ask for a drink, her voice soft and polite. The attendant approached with an annoyed sigh. "What is it now?" she barked, making the girl shrink back into her seat. This time, the father's composure faltered just slightly. He leaned forward, speaking in a low voice. "Excuse me, but I think you're forgetting something." His words hung in the air, and the cabin grew eerily quiet. The flight attendant froze, her expression shifting from annoyance to confusion. "Forgetting something," she echoed, her tone defensive. The father met her gaze calmly, but there was a quiet authority in his voice as he replied, "Yes. Common courtesy, respect, maybe even the purpose of your job." His words were measured, but the weight of them sent a ripple through the cabin. Passengers began leaning in, sensing something big was about to happen. The attendant stiffened, her face a mix of anger and embarrassment. "Sir, I don't appreciate being spoken to like this," she snapped. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, a routine evening takes a dark turn. A young black girl, full of life and dreams, vanishes without a trace. The chilling truth. A racist cop is behind her disappearance, exploiting his power in the most sinister way. As the community trembles in fear and outrage, one man refuses to be silenced, her father. His love for his daughter fuels an unstoppable quest for justice that will shake the very foundations of the system. With each step closer to the truth, the tension builds. What will happen when a father's determination collides with a corrupt institution? Stay tuned as we unravel this gripping story of courage, injustice, and the fight for what's right. As days turn into nights, the search for the missing girl grows more desperate. The community rallies together, but whispers of distrust circulate. Everyone asks the same question: how could this happen in their town? Her father, a man of quiet strength, digs into every lead, every clue, determined to bring his daughter home. His persistence leads him to unsettling discoveries: a pattern of abuse, an officer with a history of misconduct, and a system that looks the other way. Meanwhile, the cop, confident in his position, thinks he's untouchable. But beneath his smug exterior lies a trail of mistakes. The father's relentless pursuit begins to uncover these cracks, but the deeper he goes, the more dangerous it becomes. With every revelation, the stakes rise. The line between justice and vengeance blurs, and the father knows he's racing against time. The tension simmers, leaving everyone wondering, how far will he go to bring his daughter back? As the investigation continues, the father uncovers disturbing evidence that the corrupt officer isn't working alone. There are others in the force who have helped cover up his past misdeeds, turning a blind eye to the abuse of power. The father faces a chilling realization: the system he's fighting against is larger and more entrenched than he ever imagined. Meanwhile, the girl remains trapped, her spirit unbroken. She recalls her father's lessons about resilience and bravery, using them to find moments of hope in her darkest hours. Her determination to survive mirrors her father's quest for justice, creating an unspoken bond across the distance that separates them. The community begins to stir, whispers turning into shouts. People are no longer willing to stay silent. As more voices join the call for accountability, the father finds unexpected allies: journalists eager to expose the truth and neighbors who refuse to be complicit in the injustice. Yet, with each step closer to unveiling the truth, the danger intensifies. The cop, feeling the walls closing in, grows more desperate. Every move is a gamble, every decision a potential risk. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the tension thickens as the final confrontation looms. As the father inches closer to exposing the truth, the tension reaches a boiling point. With the help of the community and the media, a spotlight is cast on the officer's dark past. The pressure mounts, but the cop, now cornered, becomes more volatile. His desperation to maintain control leads to reckless decisions, putting everyone involved in greater danger. The father, fueled by his unwavering love and the support of those around him, prepares for a final showdown. Every step he takes is a step into the unknown, but his resolve never wavers. The girl, sensing a shift, holds onto the hope that her father's strength will bring her back to safety. In a dramatic turn of events, new evidence emerges, a crucial piece that could bring the corrupt cop and his accomplices to justice. The clock ticks down as the father confronts the system head-on, determined to shake it to its core. Suspense thickens as the audience waits to see if justice will prevail or if the darkness will claim another victim. Just as it seems the father has the upper hand, a shocking revelation turns everything upside down. The new evidence that appeared to be a breakthrough was planted, a deliberate trap set by someone within the system. The father realizes that the corruption runs deeper than he thought, and the very people he trusted to help him may have ulterior motives.